is the CEO of Leeds Children's Charity at Lineham Farm, Dave Norman, who has been part of a very exciting announcement with Leeds United this week. Good morning to you, Dave.
Good morning, you man. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm all right. A bit nervous. I'm all right.
There's no need to be nervous. It's all good, my friend. It's all good. Listen, why don't you start off by telling us what exactly is the Leeds Children's Charity at Lineham Farm?
Well, the charity started as Leeds Poor Children's Holiday Camp Association in 1904 at a base in Silverdale. And that work was driven by Helen Currer Briggs, who was at the time, I think, the Lady Mayoress of Leeds. And she was passionate about promoting the voice of young people from Leeds who had very little. And she worked with families, and her team worked with families who earned less than £1 a week at the time. But the success was measured by weight gain. The children were weighed before they went to the camp.
Right.
And when they came back, they were weighed again, and any weight gain proved the success of the work in their eyes. Because of course these children had very little to eat. I'm sure it would be quite different nowadays, but that's a whole different story.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it was a measure of some kind. And the centre itself in Silverdale only closed twice, once following a fire in 1919 and then during the Foot and Mouth in 2002. And in 2015, that centre celebrated its 60,000th child to visit. Unfortunately, as things do happen, things changed, and the centre was sold. The trustees felt that they needed to protect the work with the young people, and to do that, the centre had to go, and we had to look for another home. And that home was found at Lineham Farm Children's Centre, just outside Leeds, which was developed and opened in 1993 following the work of Councillor Denise Atkinson, who was another Lady Mayoress, and the whole centre was renovated. I think it goes back to the 16th century part of the farm, but it was renovated to very, very high spec, and young people from Leeds started to visit. That charity started to struggle as well, so the obvious answer was a merger. So we merged Leeds Children's Charity and Lineham Farm to what it is now. And in 2020, Leeds Children's Charity at Lineham Farm became a new charity on the books. And the idea was to welcome additional numbers of young people to the centre, promote different activities, and it's worked fabulously. We now have a charity at the heart of the city of Leeds, supported by lots of local businesses, and it's got a great future, I think. We've got lots of plans coming up, and yeah, the excitement thing about Leeds United, we are for a season their official partner, and on I don't know whether you've seen the videos, but on the 30th of August, Rebecca, Paige, Georgina and Jamie, who are all players for United, visited the centre and had a fabulous time. The thing about the visit was, young people can see when people aren't being genuine. These 4 players were fantastic. What they did was heartfelt. They cared. I think they cheated sometimes on some of the activities, but we won't go any further on that. But they did orienteering, they made pizzas, they did bushcraft, they toasted marshmallows. They had a fabulous time. So yeah, in terms of a charity of our size, we're a small charity. The exposure that this will give us is fantastic.
Oh, amazing. And I did want to ask, like, when I was reading about this charity, and especially when the merger happened in 2020, that was obviously the dreaded start of COVID. And like, how did that affect you? Because you had this amazing idea to merge together, and then suddenly there would have been like another major incident where it's like, oh, this is just another step back for us.
Yeah, well, if you've worked in the charity sector, which I think you've done a little bit of work in the charity sector, you become very resilient.
Yes.
And you have to expect the unexpected. And what we had, actually, we took the opportunity that COVID provided, which sounds quite silly when you look back on the situation. And we invested over £500,000 into the centre. So there I was in my little office at Lineham Farm, surrounded by young lads, builders, plasterers, plumbers, all who didn't really care too much about COVID, but we got the work done. We have 13 bathrooms.
Wow.
And they stripped them out completely, did a fantastic job. So the whole centre got a lot of investment. Now, we wouldn't have been able to manage that, Sam, if COVID hadn't have happened. So we had to take advantage of that. And also at the same time, we had a separate accommodation where we provided emergency cover and care for some very, very needy young people.
Do you know what? I think sometimes we forget. Obviously, everybody had their own situation going on during COVID, but I think sometimes we forget about how difficult it must have been for charities, and the charities that have managed to survive through that time. I think it's unbelievable. It really is. We're listening in. We're talking to Dave Norman, who is the CEO of Leeds children charity at Lineham Farm. He's my Sunday postbag guest. So can you tell me, David, how did you get involved with the charity?
I joined. I've done all sorts in my life. I was a policeman for 32 years. I worked at the University of Bradford. I worked at local government. But my heart has always been in working with and supporting young people. And that's kind of, I saw the advert. I'd always known about Silverdale. With the charities that I worked at, Barker Leeds and Serious Fun, we did lots of activities, and I'd always heard of Silverdale. And when the job came up, I'd been made redundant, and I saw it, and I went for it, and luckily, I was appointed. It's been one of the best jobs of my life.
Amazing. Well, listen, we're going to ask you some random questions very, very soon. I'm going to play a song, so you've got time to chill out a little bit. I know you're a little bit nervous, Dave, but there's no need to be nervous. How are you feeling right now? You know, you've been chatting for a bit. You sound lovely and confident, Dave.
You know, I'm in your warm and welcoming arms, Sam. Why should I be nervous?
Bless you. I love it. Well, listen, we'll be chatting some more after Ed Sheeran on BBC Radio Leeds.